All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Running with Wolves. I want to talk to you guys today about a really cool client case study and kind of break it down for you in terms of how we created these results for one of my consulting clients, because I think it's very representative of where a lot of people are at when they come to us talking about the fact that they don't know how to create sales from their content. So this consulting client came to us and she had less than 2,000 Instagram followers. She was breaking out of the industry that she was previously in and creating an entire new product suite. And on top of that, she had less than 2,000 Instagram followers, no TikTok, no marketing strategy, no nothing to actually make this move for her. But what she did have was really incredible market research and drive to make this happen. So I want to talk to you guys about how we were able to create in 60 days, 140K in sales for her within just a couple of months of her working with us, all through her Instagram content. So like I said, when this consulting client came to me, she was kind of busting out of the industry that she was currently in. She used to be an operations manager, and a big majority of what she did for her clients was managed their launches for them. So she had a ton of experience in terms of creating like multiple six-figure launches for her clients. So she very much was a sales expert, but she was kind of operating as like this operations manager as well, because she was project managing the entire launch. And what she said to me was she really basically wanted to get her revenue to a point and her sales to a point where it was a little bit more passive, because she was making great money, but the amount of time she was spending working on client work in order to do that was astronomical. She basically created like another 9 to like 8 p.m. for herself instead of 9 to 5. And so she was like, this is not how I want to live my life anymore. So I want my product suite to be more passive. And I also want my sales to feel more passive. So basically when we started working together, she was really concerned that this was going to take a while because she only had 2,000 Instagram followers. And the 2,000 Instagram followers that she had was based off of her operations business prior to starting, this like sales expert business where she was selling a course. And so, they were like ice cold leads basically. And a vast majority of them, I would say, were qualified leads. But again, she hadn't talked to them in 2 years and she only had like 1,900 followers, I think. So I think the biggest thing for her was setting appropriate expectations. So we broke down her marketing strategy with the expectation that this was probably going to take several months to get her audience re-warmed up, and then we were going to do kind of like a bigger launch basically to make sure that she could see the sales that she was looking for. However, instead of doing that, like I said, she had a ton of market research, and so we had this conversation basically about starting to put out very much solution selling content for her audience, but not telling them what the specific offer was that she was selling. She was going to kind of tease them with her call to action and essentially say like, hey, DM me, if you want to talk about this transformation or this solution, and I can, talk to you about what my offer is. And she was like, I kind of just want to do it to like dip a toe basically into the lake and see what happens when I start talking about these problems, these desires, this solution. So we agreed that the first couple of months, we were just going to like very much beta test her content, beta test this offer, see how people responded, and just kind of go from there. So within those couple of months, I think within the first week of her posting content, she created 30K in sales, and she didn't mention what the offer was. She didn't have a sales page. Literally nothing. All she did was create content with our content framework, talking about the problems and the desires that her target audience had, and talking about the solution. She didn't even tie it to a specific offer. She just talked about an overall transformation, and they immediately came running. Now, to be fair, what I will say is that she knew to a T who her ideal client was. Like I said, she had done the market research. So all of her operations clients, before she started to become a sales expert, were her ideal clients. So she had a wealth of people that she could ask market research questions of, and that's exactly what she did, which was, in my opinion, why she saw results so quickly. So for her, I think that the more specific, and this just goes for everyone, the more specifically you can talk about someone's problems or their desires, the quicker they identify with your content as soon as they're exposed to it, the faster it takes for them to know, like, and trust you, and the faster it is for them to buy from you because they see the solution essentially that you're offering. So we broke down her marketing strategy based off of our Wolf framework, which is attract, warm, convert. And we customized it to her business, to her industry, to her target audience, to their buyer types, her service, etc. And there wasn't a ton of attraction content that we were putting in there, again, because she was just trying to kind of test how her messaging was with her clients, or with her audience, excuse me. But when I say she created 30K in literally 1 week in sales, like I said, it's because she was so specific in terms of what she was talking about. So I'll give you guys an example. She didn't basically just say, for those of you who don't know how to sell in your content, this is a transformation. She said, you're putting content out consistently, you're showing up consistently, but you keep hearing it's too expensive. You're getting ghosted. You're wasting 45 minutes on a sales call only to hear, I need to think about it. People asking you to give them free advice or answer a quick question. So for those people who were her target audience, who were experiencing those things, those are the exact things that they were hearing from their audience was, I need to think about it. Can you answer a quick question? Can you give me free advice? It's too expensive, or they get ghosted. So those people immediately related to her content and identified with it. And they were like, oh, okay, so she's talking to me. And then again, she was able to, because of how well she knew her audience, I think it very much positioned her as an authority and an expert. And how she also talked about what the solution was, to situations like that, which was the offer that she was selling, which was a sales course, and needing to learn how to sell like an expert, essentially. And so she was able to talk about that transformation, but she was able to give them a call to action that caused them to want to inquire, to want to ask her what she was selling, and immediately was able to convert them in her DMs super effortlessly. This was not like a lengthy sales conversation, you guys. This was probably like a couple of messages back and forth, and they were like immediately sold. Yes, this is everything that I need and more, basically. So something that I love about this example, like I said, is that you don't need a shit ton of followers. You don't need fancy marketing campaigns. You don't need fancy ads or graphics or the most beautiful aesthetic feed. The best part about all of this was that the majority of her content, while the written caption was super, super impactful, her reels that she would pair with these captions was typically her eating, drinking coffee, making coffee. It was like the most basic run-of-the-mill content ever, but the messaging that she paired with it was so on point that it spoke to people. So whenever I hear people say, like, I don't have enough followers, or I don't have fancy enough content, or any of those things, I don't have time to create content, right? Absolutely not. What I love about my clients is that they are an excuse eliminator when it comes to creating results. She knew the results would come if she had the right strategy and she could implement it consistently. So we solved the strategy part, and she was able to keep going consistently. And like I said, within 60 days, because of how pointed her messaging was, she closed 140K in sales within 60 days, you guys, because of how specific her messaging was, with all of those things like going against her. So a lot of you guys are going to now ask me the question, okay, how do I make my messaging that specific? How do I make my messaging that pointed to the point where it actually does that for me within my sales? Number one, like I said, what she had was a shit ton of market research. So if you do not have dozens and dozens of conversations with people where you can hear straight from the horse's mouth what they're struggling in relation to what you're selling, or what they desire in relation to what you're selling, you need to have more conversations. And we've talked about the different ways to do market research. I actually have a whole podcast episode about this, so if you guys want to go and watch that, you totally can. But you can basically survey past or current customers or clients. People do that all the time. Businesses do that all the time. They send feedback forms or surveys or questionnaires or things like that, right? So you can send those, you can have a conversation, on a sales call, and remember the things that people are telling you that they're struggling with or that they want, and notate those things. If you're having DM conversations with people, same thing, get your information from there. And then the other thing you can do is competitor analysis. So you can be looking at, okay, look at your competitor's page and see what is it that people are commenting or engaging with. What topics are they engaging with? And you're like, okay, that's probably a problem that they have or a desire that they have. Based off of that information, you can use that and tweak it. And then on top of that, watch your marketing and your sales data, because typically, like I said, marketing and sales is cause and effect. You talk about one thing, people buy. Or if you talk about something that they're just not interested in and doesn't engage them, or it's not clicking for them, they're probably going to have a very lackluster response or no response at all, right? So watch your marketing and your sales data. What videos are typically performing the best? What content is performing the best? What's getting you the most views, followers, profile views, saves, shares? What are people binging and engaging with the most? And then on top of that, what's driving link clicks? What's driving inquiries or applications or website traffic? You can typically correlate the day that that spikes to the content that you put out, right? So you have to watch your data and understand essentially the story that it's telling you, so you can use that to refine your messaging, to refine your content, and make it that much more specific so that it warms faster and it converts faster. So hopefully this story genuinely inspires you guys to be like, okay, I have big dreams and goals. I know that if I'm just given the right information, I have the drive, I have the consistency, I have the right energy and the mindset to implement it. And you don't let anything hold you back. It doesn't matter if you have 1,000 followers on Instagram or 10,000 or 1,000,000 followers on Instagram. You should still be seeing an extremely high percentage of effortless sales from your content if you are messaging things correctly, if you're positioning yourself correctly, if you have the right content. All of this stuff should be happening super, super effortlessly. And if you don't know how to do that, that is always something that we help our clients with. So you guys are welcome to head over, to our website, to our Instagram, to our TikTok, any of those things, and leave us questions to inquire. We are absolutely here for you guys to help you make that a reality for yourself. But word to the wise, become an excuse eliminator. You guys can absolutely do it. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.